when you started to notice the high heater come into the game
Yeah.
and the super spin rate, jumpy fastballs, did you feel like you had to make an adjustment with your swing or with your eyes? Because you're right-handed thrower, left-handed hitter. For me, I always felt like the left hand obviously wasn't as strong or dominant, so I wasn't as direct. There always has been a little bit of loop, been able to handle off speed really well, had to make an adjustment to handle the high four. And I'm talking to Rizzo about it. Riz, left-handed hitter, really dominant left hand, really strong left hand. He's taking swings and hitting himself in the ass to stay on top of the high heater. And he's like, oh, yeah, all I do is I just like punch it. Like, yeah, Riz, because you're left hand dominant. Like, it's not that easy for me. And so I wonder, like, for you as a right-handed thrower, was there a like concrete adjustment that you made when that started happening in the game?
Well, I remember failing for a bit, and it wasn't until my swing, I found, okay, I remember facing Giovanni Gallardo, and I always remember feeling, and this was back in like, 8, 10, 12, 14. I always remember his fastball feeling too much for me. And he threw 92, 93. And he was basically fastball slider. And I felt like, why can't I ever beat that fastball to the spot? I'm smashing other slightly running 98s, 97s. It was never a problem if there was any sort of run on him. It followed. It was fine for my bat path, but for him. And so once we started crossing paths with a lot of right-handers with that combination, that like straighter, spinnier fastball, cutter, slider, curveball, all of those coming off of each other. I felt ill-equipped for it. And it worked fine when I made the choke up adjustment and I spread out, because all I would try to do is just beat balls to the spot, and it worked out fine. But when I started standing a little taller and being more aggressive, I noticed I was constantly getting crushed by these pitches. And as simple of a fix as it is, I just tried to acclimate myself to that pitch with the higher spinnier ball off the machine. And I played a game. I've never shared this, but I'll share it with you. I play a game where I use the Rapsodo, try to hit the ball somewhere around 100 to 105, but then I have to hit the ball sub 1500 RPMs. And then I set it at the highest speed, not highest speed, because like 82. And then I set it at 3200 spin. But then I try to match it. I try to match that with the Rapsodo. And I feel like it shapes my swing to be more direct and also grow more comfortable with that particular pitch.
Yeah.
Really hard to drill. It's the sort of drill that if I don't stay on it consistently, and almost if I don't sign up mentally for it, like if I'm not like, this might hurt, this might be a painful drill and you might struggle with it, but you better stay in here and at least clip a few. But I found that served me well, and balls in game just aren't as anywhere near as difficult. The high spinny ones, there's almost nobody that can beat that in the game.
No, that's a really good one, because when we would come into a game and there was, in the middle of the time when stuff was on people's fingers, there was, you were 28, 2900 RPM heaters, and you just like, I feel like you swung 3 times and it's like, God damn it, I feel like I was right on every one of those.
Yeah.
And even before that, when guys were throwing the 2500, and now that's kind of because of Rapsodo and guys being able to really maximize spin, like that's a pretty jumpy four seam. But it took me a long time to really figure out like what that had to feel like. And coming into 20, like Corey Kniebel, he threw, like one of the first games I hit a four seamer right back up the middle. And that was like right at the start of the season. I was like, oh, okay. All right. Like if I can cover him, like I'm good. I can get anybody. Mm-hmm. And so like that was one of the aha moments for me. And it was like, 106 right back up the box. And I was like, all right, yep, I can do it. But we had this, have you ever seen the leaf blower? Like the red that shoots out the.
Yes.
Okay. So Riz threw La Stella because Trout used it, I guess, and then Listella told us about it. Riz ordered it, so we called it the leaf blower, but we would be in the cage. That thing's shooting balls starting at your ankles and at your head, and you're just chopping balls. But because they were soft, you could really let it eat, and you wouldn't blow you up. So that was one of the things that definitely helped me kind of get over that hump.
Yeah. I saw an Instagram post of Trout using that machine, and I bought one. I was like, Mike's using it? I'm in.
Well, then I need it.
Can I interject very quickly that
Yes, Tom.
while we were recording, Scott Rolen elected to the Hall of Fame, Joey's former teammate. Pretty cool. Just wanted to get that in there.
Amazing.
Half hour.
I loved watching Scott Rolen.
One of the best third basemen of all time defensively. Incredible.
Was he the only one?
Believe so. He was the only inductee.
Wow.
I remember Scott Rolen, his pre-at-bat routine. Joey, correct me if I'm wrong here, but he would go and he would sit on the bench before he was on deck. He would sit on the bench, full helmet, full batting gloves with his bat, just like this.
You know, he would. I learned something from him that I don't think he did intentionally. I don't know if he's a practitioner of like mindfulness or meditation. I'm not sure if that's his thing, but I remember him sitting on the bench often in isolation, just like with good posture, both his hands on his legs, just watching the game upright. And he would do that every game for, almost any opportunity he had to rest if he wasn't getting his bat or wasn't like checking something out behind the scenes. But he would just sit there. And I've adopted that because I think it's a useful tool. But he'd do the same thing before his at-bats. He would get his stuff and gloves on and then just, like you said, sit there. But he was doing that all the time in between innings. I played with Griffey Jr., and Griffey's the best player I've ever played with. And because Ken's one of the all-time greats. So it's undeniable. I was very fortunate to play with him. And I played with him when I was young. But Scott was the most impressive player I've ever played with because his work was steady. He played with an intensity I'd never seen before. And I felt like for someone with a lot of physical gifts, still got every last ounce out of himself. He always felt like he was an underdog, which was an ironic thing to think considering he was 6'5", 250, and a tremendous athlete. I mean, like could have played in Indiana. I think he had a scholarship to Indiana back when Indiana was Indiana. But he was a great teammate. And now that you mentioned he was elected to the Hall of Fame, it's a big deal. He deserves it. Just a fantastic player when I play with him. So well-rounded, great base runner, great defender, most fundamentally sound player I've ever played with. He would pick the ball up and throw with perfect accuracy. It was like he must have been coached really well.
He seemed like a no flash guy too. Like he was like just straight batting gloves, like no wrist tape, no sleeves, like just glove.
Yeah, he had a pride to him. He was all about staying out of the training room unless you're injured. He was about not making excuses. He didn't want. Hustle was a priority. Being on time was a priority. Communal, team-wide respect was important. He was really well liked and well respected. It's weird saying that, like, because Griffey I expected to get into the Hall of Fame, but I wasn't sure whether or not Scott would. So it's a big deal that he got in. This is right.
I can just imagine you being at first, like the ball at first base, just him spinning the shit out of it and just throwing like
perfect straight. It was
like laser beams.
I'm not sure, and Arenado's excellent, but I'm not sure Arenado's better than prime Scott Rolen defensively. I think the two of them, like Scott ran well and was big and moved like a panther. I mean, the guy was just, if you look at old highlights of him, he had to deal with some injuries, but he moved so well as a young player, and he moved great as a 36-year-old when I played with him. So
Can you tell us, is there anything this offseason that you're focusing on? Anything like I know that you rehab a shoulder and everything, but is there anything as you like go into this spring that you're really thinking about or that's been a focus this offseason?
So health was a factor last year. So last year, and since we're doing hitting baseball talk, last year my plan was, okay, so in 21, I had 36 home runs in 129 games, and I was like, all right, I want 50. All I have to do is like snag a few more from these left-handers and I'll get 50. And I was like, I'm going to just try to hit homers again. And so I go to a bat factory and make some adjustments to my bat. I threw one of those knobs on the bottom. I won't say the company, but I threw one of those knobs on the bottom, and I was doing the exact same program swing wise as the year before, but I never found the barrel. Like I'd clip a ball and then miss. Clip two, miss. And I don't do that. I don't miss the ball. But I was like, okay, it's a new experience. We're going to make this adjustment. At no point did I feel whippy. At no point did I feel accurate. But the ball's coming off hot when it came off, right? So I was like, all right, well, they say this is supposed to work. I'm going to do this. More power, more, bigger peak exit velocity numbers. If I go from 114 to 116, wow, that means I can miss hit balls all over the field and they're going to be home runs. That in combination with I basically spent the entire offseason pulling the ball. So I hit off of left-handers. I hit off the left-handed machine. I set up everything in, and all I did was try to pull the ball. And from when I was 18 years old until now, I've never pulled the ball, ever pulled the ball, because, and I'll say this because I'm at this angle right now. I'll explain this angle. For me, I view hitting as protecting your blind spot. There's like a little blind spot here, like in this window, that if you try to catch it out front, your blind spot gets bigger. So the the left-handed breaking ball falls into it, the backdoor left-handed sinker, the right-handed cutter, any breaking balls. And then on top of that, you get sped up where you're trying to catch the ball way out front. And I've never been way out front guy. I've always been like close to the body, and the ball just naturally comes off wherever it goes off, because that's just, I have enough to be able to put over the fence. So I spent all last offseason trying to pull the ball, something I've never done, with a new bat. And in April, call it 75 at bats, I was hitting the worst I'd ever hit in my career, worst month of my career. And I was rolling over everything. I was mishitting balls that I should have hit. The whole month it felt off. Then I got COVID. Then a couple weeks off of COVID. Another, I think, 5-ish days of rehabbing. And I come back and I'm like, that's it, man. You're using the old bat and we're hitting the ball to left field. You're hitting the ball to center field. We're done with this. So I started grinding back. And then late June, my hand, I couldn't grip the bat, my elbow, my shoulder, my bicep. I didn't know what was going on, but you all know when you're competing, you're just like, we're going to problem solve this, right? And I decided I'm not going to practice behind the scenes because I can't swing my bat. I'd hit out a couple balls off the tee and then go play the game because of my arm. And I was grinding. And then at some point, something gave. I don't know if it's because my bicep tore or whatever, but I started plummeting performance-wise. But my plan this year, to finish this full story, my plan this year is just pure fundamentals. I'm going to lock in on that high spin. I'm going to hammer the ball the other way. I'm going to beat right-handers because that's my strength. Last year, I OPS'd 670 against right-handers. I had a higher OPS and a higher on base. I had like a 370 on base against left-handers. And then I had like a 290 against right-handers. What are we talking about? I get intentionally walked by right-handers, sort of thing. And here I am getting smashed by them. The game's no different. So my plan is just pure fundamental. Let it eat, smash high pitches, do some mix work, low trajectory, hit the ball off the left center field wall on a low trajectory, and then ideally get enough at bats. If I in spring training, if I have to do extended, if my arm's not ready, whatever, but get as many at bats as I can, be fully ready to be able to just stand in the box and freestyle. That's my hitting goal. So, but I have to be healthy. And that's why I mentioned extended. I don't, I'd love to be there for opening day, but health is health, right? So
that's really interesting because thinking about you hitting pull side homers isn't like, it's like not like a sold out all the way in front. It's like the ball gets to you and it's like bang, like tight. And that's how I've always seen you just dominate the middle of the field. And then if somebody if I remember Hendricks would always throw you hip shot, and you would just take, and then one day it's just like it's like, oh shit. And that's what I remember, like when you're at your best, like so short and tight in there. So I can imagine like if you spend a full off season out, because I know when I get pool happy and out front, it's like my sight gets so far out front that anything on the outer half almost looks so far away from me, and I commit, like it's the instant commit, and then it feels like you have a wet noodle behind you to go get that outside pitch. There's just nothing left to give.
Yeah. Anything breaking down in a way, it falls for me into that, like I mentioned, blind spot. Like you're trying to catch out front, but really, I used to love Bonds, love Bonds. I'd tune into every one of his at bats. I'd rewatch his at bats when I came home. But I always found that Bonds, the way I use Bonds was a measure of greatness, not a swing, because I can't relate to, like you mentioned with Rizzo, going like this, click, and then the ball coming off and basically bending the opposite way.
True that it's coming backwards. Yeah.
Yeah. And us, if we right-handed, the ball comes off like that.
Yeah.
And that's a disaster for us. Because then if we try to hit, how hard is it when you hook topspin a ball to the right side, but then you're like, oh, this guy's throwing pitches. I need to hit the ball to left field. And you're just like grinding to feel that timing of like, where is that little sliver because it is a little sliver to hit the ball the other way. A teeny little matched up sliver where the ball's coming and the swing's in the right place. But you can only get that if you rep that out. And what can funk that up, in my opinion, is any out front stuff, because then you lose this thing. So that's my plan for this coming year, just pure fundamentals, ideally being healthy, having fun, letting it eat. I think it'll be fun. I don't know. I think I'll be in a good place.
I love that. I can't wait to see you out in AZ. We don't want to keep you for too much longer, but this has been awesome. It's been awesome. Talking shop. Do you have anything to tell me about Barnhart before you go? Anything about Barnhart? Should I give him a tough time about anything? Any one story that I should give him a hard time about? We can always cut this too.
No. Tucker's one of the best teammates I've ever played with. He's not overly prepared as it gets. He's as professional as it gets. He's motivated. He's a team guy. He's all in. He'll be a Cub, all in right away. Clubhouse wise is a great pickup, and I think that you'll find that he'll be a person to occasionally talk to when it comes to hitting, because he's always trying to be better, trying to problem solve, trying to work. He loves to play well offensively, but you can tell he's a team guy because he prides himself on being prepared defensively, being good with the pitching staff, being good with the coach, the pitching coach, working well in that group. So I'm very fond of Tucker, and I'm happy for him. So
he's already started to go back and watch all of our pitchers' outings from the last years and figure out what they like to throw and stuff. Start texting everybody. He's a beauty.
Yeah, you'll like him even more than that. He's as professional as it gets. I haven't met many like him.
It's awesome. Thanks for coming on, man. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you a lot.
Can't wait to hear more about your chess games.
Appreciate it. Best of luck to everyone here and good health to all of you.
Thank you. You as well.
Likewise.
Thanks, guys.
See you, Joey. That was an amazing interview with Joey. What a just thoughtful hitter. I could talk kidding with him for I actually think 5 hours.
I texted Zach during the interview and said you guys were speaking Korean because I did not understand what was going on in the interview.
You could tell.
Wait, hold on. Hey, Dakota, you want to maybe? There you go. Come back.
You can hear me, can't you? You're gonna use my face. You've watched all the TikToks. It's never me or Zach's face, so I can lay down. I don't even need to be here.
I'm actually thinking
on the video.
Yeah. Yep.
So don't tell me to sit up.
Yep.
Woo!
Ian Happ has no co-hosts.
I mean, be honest, Zach. Have you ever seen a TikTok and we're on there for more than 2 seconds?
You know how much I love the compound. Have you noticed that I haven't reposted any of them because none of us are in it except for Ian?
I can't believe I'm wearing John Boy right now because all they do is disrespect us.
It's sad.
I don't mean that. I don't mean that. I take that back.
We're the black sheep. It's all good, dude. It's all good.
Can you talk about Joey, please?
Yes, it was a great interview. Joey. He is way too smart for me as a hitter. I was gonna say to Zach, like, is that almost overthinking or no? Is there such thing as overthinking?
Except he's won an MVP. You know, he's $250 million contract.
I didn't realize people thought that much.
I think that's why he's so good, is because he's so thoughtful and keeps making adjustments. He's like one of the things that I noticed playing against him is just always felt like he was so in tune with his body and what he was trying to do. Like those 17 and 18, he was awesome 21, but I'm telling you, in 17 and 18, that dude, every time he came up, it was like, he's not going to punch. No chance. He's going to get on base half the time. He's going to walk. That we had to play this 4-man outfield against him. He was the best hitter on the planet.
But that was August 14th, 2017, and he hit a double against that too, which was the wildest part.
Yeah, I think I was in. I can't remember what position I was playing, but I think I was in there. It's like,
didn't he have a streak? Like, wasn't there like a crazy streak where he never popped up on the infield?
Yes.
It was like years, right?
No, yes. He never hit a foul ball to the right side.
Or that's what it was. Like, he never popped out in foul territory or something. It was something insane.
Yeah,
like,
he would only hit foul balls the other way.
Do that.
I have bad news for you, and you were not on the field for the 4-man outfield.
Damn it!
Why
wasn't I playing?
You might have been at second base. You were an infielder.
No, it was the outfield shift was Schwarber in left. Chris Bryant moved from third to like left, right, like left center. Jay's in center field, and then Hayward's in right. You got La Stella, Baez, and Rizzo on the infield.
Who was in center?
John Jay.
God, August 14th, 2017. I can't get in the lineup.
You're riding the pine.
Damn it.
It's just a day off.
Who started for the Reds?
I'm attempting to figure this out right now.
Tell me who started for the Reds.
Jose Quintana.
The lefty. You're not a good righty. As good as you are lefty.
He was
Jose
on the Reds.
Quintana wasn't with the Reds.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry.
Because that was right after the trade for
Asher Wojciechowski. I'm sorry. I read the wrong side. Asher Wojciechowski. He gave up 7 runs in 3 2/3.
Why wasn't I playing that game?
Bench.
I could have hit a homer. Everyone was hitting homers.
You did get a pinch running appearance in that game.
Get your games played up. Use that on ARB.
Yeah, you got good speed.
Pinch running. Who did I pinch run for?
You pinch ran for Bryant.
Oh my God! Because the game was so out of control.
Yeah, we want to get him.
I had to go defensive replace somebody. Oh my God!
I have a question for you too. A question for you too. What would your bat speed be off a tee?
I have no idea.
Like,
I've actually been doing some of this stuff on
because the guy that trains me tests it, and I'm just curious what you guys get.
On blast. Like, if I'm just doing my work, probably like 65. But if I was like trying to eat, like get after it, like 75.
What are you talking about?
Bat speed
off a tee?
Bat speed?
Okay, ball speed, whatever. I don't know. The other one, the higher one, like exit velocity. Sorry, not bat speed.
I don't hit the ball hard in BP or off a tee.
Never mind. Move
What's
on.
the number you're looking for? 100?
No, I was just curious what you guys got because I had like 94, and then the guy
mine's 95.
Well, I know yours is higher. The guy I was hitting with, Keegan Aiken, he pitches for the Orioles. He got like 104, and I was like off a tee into a net.
No, mine's 105 then.
I'm guessing yours is very high. So I was just curious.
I rarely hit balls.
Can you wait to stuff your face till we're done recording?
Yeah, seriously, what's going on? You're laying down.
I'm
you're
about to
eating. Like, what are we doing? We need an hour and 15 minutes, max an hour 30 a week. We got a guy eating, and what dude?
I'm leaving. Down. I'm leaving as soon as this is over.
Where are you going?
I'm going to hit.
What?
Oh,
why didn't you do that
He's
earlier?
going to hit.
What have you been doing all day?
Also, very quickly on August 17th, on August 14th, 2017, you also had a plate appearance and got hit by Scooter Gennett. So it sounds like a wild day.
Oh,
get your
I
OBP
remember
up,
that,
baby.
0-2 count. Scooter was throwing. Scooter was nasty. Actually,
let him do an.
Scooter was a fucking player.
You were 0-2 against in a position player.
Yes. Scooter was throwing sidearm. Okay. I think I took the first one and then I fouled off the second one, maybe. And I'm sitting there 0-2 against Scooter Gennett going, oh my God. I just got
so
I just had to pinch run for Bryant. I didn't get to play in this game. We were blowing guys out. Okay. I just pinch ran for Bryant. I'm in here playing fucking defense. Now I'm gonna get in a bet off Scooter fucking Gennett. It's 0-2, and they hit me right in the ass.
You stuck you stuck your ass out to get hit. How
happy were you? Were you skipping down to first base?
I was so I was like, thank God. That would have been, I love when the Cubbies win. That would have been a day where like we just blew everybody out, and like I'm walking back in there going like, Jesus Christ.
Happ's the first one out of the locker room that day.
Yeah, I'm walking back in there like, nice game, everybody. Like, damn it,
dude. I think in minor leagues, I haven't struggled against position players, but when I'm walking up to the plate against one, I'm like, there's just no way this is gonna be like
lose.
I fucking hate it.
I started hitting righty against position players. I went 2 for 3. Went 2 for 3 this year of position players, and my out were right-handed. I might have done once lefty. I went 2 for 3 off position players, and my out was a 105-mile-an-hour line drive to the right fielder.
Oh,
Oppo.
So, hang on. Funny story really quick about the position player. So last year or 21, my rookie year, I get sent down, get called back up. And it's like, it was somebody got hurt and they're like, all right, got to bring short back up. And like, I wasn't in a good spot. Like I didn't start that game. And this was still when you could double switch. So I was always brought up when they went on NL trips, just so you could have an extra position guy. And I double switch in a blowout. Like, I mean, we're winning by a zillion against the Reds. And I'm like, oh, like I won't get in that bad. I'll just play defense, like whatever. And they bring in a position player and I'm up 4th. And I'm like, you got like, if I don't get a hit here, I ain't like, this guy can't hit regular pitching. He can't position playing, like I'm walking up there and I'm like, AJ's looking at me just smiling. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna get a position player. And I think we go 1, 2, 3, and I'm on deck when the last out's made. And I'm walking back and I'm like, shoot, I wanted that AB. I wanted it.
There's nothing like that blowout game where that at bat's coming for you and you're like, position player.
You just feel it. You feel it on your tail. You're like, I'm gonna get in that bat. You're playing the game with the lineup. You see it on there. You're just like, oh my God, I'm gonna be up.
What do you think Statcast has that pitch at miles per hour wise on the Scooter?
That hit me in the ass.
Yeah,
the one that hit me
67.
Yeah.
60. Yeah. It was 66 miles an hour.
60.9, 61 miles an hour. They listed it as a curveball as well. Technically, they don't have video, unfortunately. 17's.
No, it was not. It was a.
We know that Compound TikTok would put it out if there was. It'd be Ian's face all over it. Zach, you know what's
Let's
crazy?
Let's do Sloan Screen time
real quick. This is out of complete left field, which Ian plays left field, so it might work.
So now it ties in.
It's crazy that you eat left-handed, but you throw a baseball. Like, it's crazy to me you throw a baseball right-handed, but you eat lefty, you swing a golf club righty, you write left-handed.
I know.
That's crazy. Like, that makes no sense.
It makes sense. Makes sense why the hands don't sleep.
Yeah.
That's why that glove works.
Let's do Sloan Screen time.
Yes.
If you need automatic flushers, automatic faucets, automatic anything that runs water through it, that's a lot of different things. Sloan Valve for all of your needs. Anybody out there looking for automatic flushers, automatic faucets, we love the people at Sloan. Let's do the Sloan Screen time.
4:35.
Yes.
531.
Let's go. That's a blowout. That's a bad day, Zach. You're better than that.
932.
Oh, God.
Oh my
God.
goodness.
I'm
You're
not
gonna
hungry.
have a
I'm not hungry anymore.
day.
It's only 7:15.
I
There's
couldn't
still
get a lot
5
of sleep
hours
last
left.
night. I was tired. I couldn't sleep. I was on my phone.
There's still
I am
5
at 3
hours
hours
left
and
today,
6
Tom.
minutes. Tom, can you
What was yours,
please-
Ian?
3 hours and now 7 minutes.
Tom,
Can you post your end of the day screen time for the listener, please?
It's
It's
gonna be over
double
12,
digits,
right? It's gonna
No,
be
I'm
11.
putting my phone away the rest of the day. I'm not using it anymore. I'll
Oh,
use
yeah,
my laptop.
sure.
No, we believe you. We believe you.
Don't you take the train?
I gotta take the subway home. Yeah.
There's no way if you're on the subway, you're not looking at your phone. Like, what are you gonna look at people? There's some crazy stuff there. You don't want to look at. You don't want to make eye contact. That's how you get
Not on the
shit.
subway. You don't.
No.
We do this. We do a show where they ask people sometimes come into the office what they're listening to, and our tech guy Dan said he was raw dogging reality. So I might have to try that. That might be my plan for the subway ride home. Just raw dog reality.
Just like experience what's happening and be like, this is crazy.
I kind of love that.
You see some performers on the subway that I think are genuinely some of the most talented. Like doing a flip on a moving New York City subway is one of the most incredible things you could ever see. And I see it 10 times a week. And people are so bored by it now. The guy will do a flip right in front of them. They won't even look up from their phone. I'm like, there's a man flipping on a moving train. You're not even like acknowledging it.
People are like passed out on the floor, and they'll just be like, "Oh, just step right over them." Just like keep looking at their phone like nothing happened.
Just another day in New York City.
Can I just say, isn't it amazing that Joey Votto is, what do you say, 39 years old?
I didn't know he was that old. I looked it up when we started the interview.
He's had a Hall of Fame career, and he's still trying to figure out what Judge and Goldie did last year so that he can be better.
Like that's incredible, and it's not a secret why he's a zillionaire.
Yep, that's a good point. That's episode 143 of the Compound Podcast, brought to you by Parse Rum. When I say Parse, you say
Rum.
Nice delay from all of you. We will see you next week. We're going to talk about golf. Dakota's going to sit up straight. Zach's not going to eat. And
maybe we'll have a TikTok with our faces on it. Probably not.
But let's not get too carried away there, Dakota.
See you next week.